Now listen to this.
Sure.
We believe that the situation should have transitioned to a political and diplomatic settlement as early as yesterday. This is the only thing that can effectively contribute to diffusing the catastrophically tense situation that has now developed in the region.
That's a top spokesman for Russia's President Vladimir Putin, urging Iran to end hostilities immediately, move toward a diplomatic resolution. U.S.-Iran direct talks may take place in Islamabad this week. Saudi Arabia and UAE may join the fight against Iran. Joining us now, U.S. Army veteran, retired Lieutenant Colonel James Carafano. Colonel, it's great to see you. What's your reaction to Russia telling Iran to end the hostilities? They don't want their oil supply at risk. Ukraine just bombed one of Russia's biggest Baltic oil export terminals.
Right. So let's look at this because we don't know. But why would the Russians want this? Iran is one of the few staunch allies that the Russians have left. We know that they supply them drones and other things. So, just geographically, strategically, they're a key ally. The probable answer here, the logical answer is that the Russians are afraid that the Iranian regime is going to collapse and that they would be sitting way back in the 1950s with an American ally, a massive, huge American ally, sitting on their doorstep astride the Caucasus in Central Asia. That's a terrifying thought. Literally, the only outlet in the world left would be Russia. I mean, that's a nightmare. So I think the Russians are afraid if the Iranians don't stop, they're not going to be there for them.
Wild stuff. I mean, that's an interesting take on that, Colonel. Now, the Pentagon is weighing a possible deployment of a combat brigade from the Army's 82nd Airborne Division. This is as Iran is basically still doing strikes on Israel. That's firing up. Let's take a listen to President Trump today saying Iran is giving the U.S. a big gift. This could be linked to the U.S. possibly controlling the flow of oil in the Strait of Hormuz. Watch this.
Why bother talking to them?
Because they're going to make a deal. They're going to make a deal. They did something yesterday that was amazing, actually. They gave us a present, and the present arrived today. And it was a very big present worth a tremendous amount of money. And I'm not going to tell you what that present is, but it was a very significant prize. And they gave it to us, and they said they were going to give it, so that meant one thing to me: we're dealing with the right people.
Is that nuclear related?
No, it wasn't nuclear related. It was oil and gas related.
Related to the Strait of Hormuz and the flow of...
Yeah, it was related to the flow and to the Strait, yeah, it was.
Are you negotiating on who's going to control the Strait from now on?
No, we'll have control of anything we want.
We'll have control of anything we want. That's the president. Do you think the U.S. is going to have control of the Strait of Hormuz and oil shipping?
I felt like I was just watching a game show of 20 questions. I mean, look, it's first of all, we have won. We have eliminated, the president has eliminated the nuclear threat, the missile threat. They've completely dismantled the surrogates. Everything that made Iran a threat to the United States is demolished. So we could stop today and we have won. I don't know what this deal looks like, but let's say he makes a deal with somebody and the deal falls apart. Well, that's just going to put, because the hardliners don't agree, that's just going to put a lot more stress on the regime, and the regime might even collapse. So, and if he does get the deal that he says, well, then that's just kind of icing on top of the cake with a cherry, and then a present to you, and a gift to your IRA. I mean,
Got it.
Yeah.
Colonel James Carafano, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's great to see you. Thank you for your service to America. We'll have you on back soon.
Thanks.
点击以下资讯栏链接，可看这个影片的完整背景与后续引起的回响哦。